I'm back to high gutter.
And then after I you still have
Does it extend the time?
Huh?
Didn't it extend the time?
No.
got the brown off my.
Golden shower.
Trying to buy an oven. It's, get it for 170 or pay 3,500.
Okay.
For the school.
What building does it need to go to?
Parkview.
Parkview.
Alright, it is 7 p.m., so let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the February meeting of the Cameron R-1 School District Board of Education. I call this meeting to order. Let's all rise and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The vision of the Cameron R-1 School District is to offer an exceptional educational experience, and the mission of the Cameron R-1 School District is to educate and empower our students to reach their full potential. You have before you the proposed agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Clark,
Second.
second by Mr. Vernier. All in favor, raise your right hand, and I'll ask Jackie on the phone, who is present with us via audio and is not feeling well tonight, so she's joining us by phone. I'll ask Jackie to vote by voice. There it was.
Sorry.
That's all right. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Motion passes. All right. The consent agenda, do I have that's the past minutes and the financial reports. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ice, second by Mrs. Peck. All in favor, raise your right hand. Mrs. Peck, voice vote.
Yes.
Motion passes. Non-action reports.
Looks like our first one is individuals from Root Ed. So, Cassie?
Hey, good evening. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Casey Bailey. I'm the regional director for the Root Ed program. This is my first time presenting at the Cameron School Board, so thanks for having me tonight. I just want to really quickly present to you a little bit about what the Root Ed program is, what our aims and goals are, and then take any questions you might have. I think I've got a presentation maybe somewhere. No? Okay.
Yes, just give me one.
That's okay. So my presentation just has 3 questions that if I was a board member, I would have about the program and what we do. The first one is, what is Root Ed? So just in a few numbers, our mission is to help rural high school students achieve career success through the support of dedicated college and career advisors. So your college and career advisor is Miss Cassie Webb. I've been working with her. This is my 4th year working with Miss Webb now. And she does a fantastic job. I'm sure you think I say that wherever I go. She truly, truly does an exceptional job objectively throughout the state and the region. Does a marvelous job. Broadly speaking, Root Ed is a national program. We work in 280 different rural high schools in 5 states. Since our inception in 2018, we've worked with about 48,000 high school students, and in that time have developed partnerships with over 1,500 college and employer partners to help make sure that all of our students graduating from our high schools have a pathway to a sustainable career. Not just a job, earning a wage where you're squeaking by, but truly a career that will support a family. So that's a little bit about what Root Ed is. What does a Root Ed advisor do? Well, that answers many things, but kind of the meat and potatoes of a day-to-day life of a Root Ed advisor is one-on-one meetings with seniors. So Cassie will set up meetings with those seniors, and she's required by the program to have at least one interaction with those seniors per semester, so twice in a year at a minimum. Obviously, after those initial meetings, she kind of is able to triage who needs more or less assistance in navigating their post-secondary pathways, and then she has the latitude within the program to kind of prescribe how much and how often she meets with those students. In addition to that, we track a number of data points. That includes what we call career exposure type of things. So think college fairs, career fairs, job shadow opportunities. Maybe that's inviting a guest speaker from the community to come in and talk about a career that students aren't familiar with. All those kinds of things are career exposures. She works with each student to develop a post-secondary plan, which is just what are you going to do when you graduate? And then a financial plan, how are you going to pay for that thing? And then there are a couple of more objective data points that we follow. One of those is FAFSA completion, so the free application for federal student aid is just a typical form that students fill out, especially if they're planning to pursue post-secondary education. And then applications. This could be a college application, job application, military application. It's not what they call it, but applications for employment after high school. So she does all of those things. Those are the things that we track. And then finally, all of our advisors plan and host and pull off a decision day celebration at the end of the year where they celebrate all those students that are going on to whatever pathway they choose. We celebrate not just college-bound students, but everything that kids are planning to go on and do. One question I might have as a board member is, if you graduated from a public high school, maybe you graduated from Cameron High School, and you say, well, I didn't have that. So is that something we really have to have? And I would say, well, that everybody has their own opinion on it. When you look at the numbers, though, here are some things that I can tell you from the breakdown. According to our own program report and a report that was done by Georgetown University, in 2023, 72% of jobs in the next 10 years are going to require some kind of post-secondary training. That doesn't mean college. That just means some kind of training beyond high school. So about 3/4 of jobs out there. Data that I was able to pull from the Missouri Economic Research and Information Council says this. The difference, the earnings difference annually, the premium, between no high school training and some high school training, less than college, on average, is about $10,000 annually. The premium from some high school training, or some training after high school, to a bachelor's degree is about $30,000 annually. And that's not national data, that's North Missouri wage data, okay? The average cost of attending a 4-year public school in the country right now is about $12,000. Okay? If you take any one of those things and you assume that whatever you're spending on Cassie's wages helps even one student move from one tier to the next, $10,000 annual earning increase in a year, you've recouped in one student a huge chunk of what you contribute to her salary and benefits as a program. If you help one student move from some training to a bachelor's degree, you've likely totally recouped whatever you contribute to her salary and benefits in a year. So is it worth it? I mean, I'm a salesperson kind of for the program, so of course I'm going to say it is, but I think the numbers bear that out as well. This isn't on the presentation, but I thought you might be interested to know, just at Cameron, one of the things that I've seen in the 4 years that I've been working with you all is a shift in just that first, what Missouri Economic Research Council calls now to next. So no high school training to some post-secondary training. So a kid who graduates with only a diploma versus a student who goes and gets a little more. The biggest shift I've seen in the last 4 years is students who have moved from no training after high school to some training after high school. Maybe that's employer-sponsored training, maybe that's an apprenticeship program, less than a 2-year diploma. There's been a significant shift. About 25% of your graduating class in 2023 was planning to attend, go straight to the workforce with no additional training. Currently, your current senior class, only about 14% are planning on going straight to work out of high school. That's, a lot of that is moved 20% of your current graduating classes planning to go get some training, less than a bachelor's degree after high school. So I think that's meaningful when you add all of that up, small but significant shifts in what's going on here at Cameron. I've talked longer than I probably should have. If you have any questions for me, anything I can answer for you?
You mentioned where all you guys are. Are you within other districts that are
Oh,
local
yeah.
to us also?
Oh, yeah. So I serve I serve 21 different school districts in the Northwest Missouri area. And then we have, throughout the state of Missouri, about 170 schools that we serve right now. 21 of those are up in this little corner of the state. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you bet.
So 170 in Missouri and 280 nationally.
Nationally.
So this is clearly a Missouri-based initiative?
Yeah, we are definitely the flagship program
Okay.
for the country right now. So, yeah, the overwhelming majority of the schools and the students that we serve nationally are in Missouri right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but Missouri's kind of where the pilot project started. We were able to partner with the Missouri Department of Education to expand that program. There's 17, then to 130, and now to about a little over 170 schools. Yeah, so we're constantly, just this past year, started up in Arkansas and Alaska. And have plans in the coming year or two to expand to other states as well.
Are you seeing funding impacts through upcoming budget in Missouri?
Specifically in Missouri, the governor's proposed budget just was recently passed, and our little line is in there. So,
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky us. I know. So the prognosis for the coming year is bright on our side. I know things look kind of stormy in the public education world writ large, but in our little corner of that world, things look pretty bright right now. Yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of tools, like how do you partner with Mrs. Webb? Like
Yeah.
what does your interaction?
Now, what do I do?
Well, what is
Yeah.
your, how do they support her?
Yeah, sure. So we have, in my role, I come and visit Miss Webb and I visit the school. So I provide like some training and support. Now, Miss Webb's been doing it for 4 years. She needs a lot less training and support than some of the new schools. We added a little over 40 schools this past year. 10 of those were up in my corner of the state. So I've been working a lot more with those folks that are new to the program. But probably the primary thing that we offer is like a framework for how to support students and families. And then I come around and visit her routinely and give her, we talk students, for example, and how we can better serve them. We have a program where when I say a program, I mean like a data system where we kind of track how things are moving along with all of those students. In addition to that, we offer some funding for you all to buy some prizes for Decision Day or to incentivize filling out applications or scholarships or whatnot. And then, I would say it's primarily on the training side. We also provide the district funding to pay for part of her role through the state, yeah.
So we get like a grant through?
Yeah, we sure do.
So are you connecting like just locally in Cameron, for example, are you connecting our kids with local Cameron opportunities, or is it like a regional thing? Are you making the connections for us, or are you just suggesting here, these are ideas?
Yeah, no, well, let me give you some examples. So we have a sister program called STARS, Small Town and Rural Schools Network. And what that does is it's a program that connects to highly selective colleges throughout the country. So some of our partners include like Dartmouth University, Yale, Washington University outside of St. Louis, University of Chicago. So they will have, for example, over the summer, Washington University had a program that was geared directly to Root Ed advisors to give them some more training in how to help navigate the highly selective college application process. Okay, so there's that aspect. On the workforce side, part of what I do is I go and I make connections with folks in towns and in the region. So, for example, I sent out to all of them today that we're going to, all of us together are planning to go visit the Altec, Plan of St. Joe. I have a lot of students in lots of the schools that are interested, but in some of my schools that are much smaller than Cameron, we're talking 1 or 2 kids. It's not really critical mass to warrant a full-blown plant tour, but when we all kind of pile up together and go as a unit, we are a little more formidable. So developing those connections within the region, in the communities, but then also outside the region. So I've presented to the Kansas City National Tooling and Machining Association about manufacturing jobs in the Kansas City area. I recently was at a meeting with the Kansas City Trade Union apprenticeship programs, learning more about what they do, telling them a little bit more about us. So those are the connections I hope to build and provide to your advisors and your students.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, and having had a graduate in '24,
Yeah,
I was a graduate here,
Yeah.
and I don't remember my decision ever being celebrated,
yeah.
other than by my family.
Yeah,
But witnessing that
yeah,
day and how, we get caught up in the nostalgia of graduating
Sure.
high school, and rarely did we celebrate what's coming. And just
Right.
seeing that and how you all did that, and the prizes and all that,
yeah,
it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And it really points people forward
yeah.
without, there's plenty of nostalgia and sadness
Sure.
at the end of high school,
You
but
bet.
that's very positive.
I totally agree. It's not just the end of a thing, but the beginning of something new. I think
Yeah.
celebrate that is
Yes.
meaningful. Yeah. I could go on and on. I'm sure you've got other things to talk about. I'm happy to answer any other questions you have. But thank you so much for the opportunity to present. And if you have any questions, you can phone. Go
I
ahead.
can just tell, basically what he does for me, anything that I need, if I ever have a question, I can text him or email him, and he's back to me very quickly with any answer. So he's kind of he's like my admin on the root ed side.
But not really.
I feel like that.
Yeah.
He's very, very helpful. He's there with any help or whatever, any questions we have. He works a lot with the workforce development throughout the state of Missouri. So they host different events throughout the year, like job fairs and stuff like that. So we try to get students at Cameron to sign up for opportunities like that, so we can take them to, they have Northwest area, so kind of keeping it local. We try to take students to those trips, Build My Future, huge, awesome event. We get quite a few kids that go. The Altech one that's coming up in April, we have about 7 students that are interested in going and touring the plant and taking advantage of that day. But yeah, lots of different events like that.
And I know that one-on-one that you do with each student is really important, because if
Yes.
you just say,
Yeah.
come see me,
Right.
we'll get them.
Yeah, and with that Salesforce tracker that we use, I log everything, our meetings, what the student's interested in, what their career choice is, where they apply, is their FAFSA done? So we track all this, and then I just continuously go back through and say, okay, I need to pull you don't have your FAFSA done yet. And just we work with students like that.
That's a great resource.
And the proactive advising is, like you say, it's kind of key to the model. The kids we find that maybe need the most help are the kids that are the least likely to go seek it out on their own. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a lot of students that, don't need our help, but there's so many students who do.
And
they
their
need-
parents do.
And their parents,
Yeah.
yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. If you have any other questions, you can just funnel them through Dr. Ormsby and Dr. Robinson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. You bet. See you all.
Next on the agenda is our legislative update.
Yeah, I just have a couple things I'd like to talk about on there. A couple different bills. House Bill 2780, it's an omnibus property tax change. It's going to change the landscape quite a bit when it comes to property taxes. That's something that the governor's pushing for. I think it's something that the state legislators are pushing for, is those property tax changes. There's actually an election in almost every county this year capping some of those, but then I think they're even looking to go further as far as more property taxes. And when you're already, I think they're looking at trying to add the Hancock Amendment into that part of it. And it's just kind of the continued erosion of more and more revenue. that school districts are losing. And so that's going to continue to be a tough hill to sled. House Bill 1776, again, changes property tax rollback calculations. That's where they would actually fund in the Hancock Amendment. And we've had actually one of the people that, Jordan Dickey is her name. She's actually, okay. Side note, I think I got our oven, so.
Save us some.
Exactly. But anyways, Jordan Dickey, who runs as the CFO for Joplin, took a lot of schools' data so they could have one list so they could kind of share that. We sent her our data with some of those property tax rollback calculations. That's another $120,000 the districts lose off of your property taxes. Now we're talking millions, but $120,000 is a couple teachers every year. And if you continue to lose something like that, that's just not going to be, that's just not going to be very conducive for our school district to be able to continue if we're going to continue to have those different impacts. The IEP bill is back this year, House Bill 2304. This effectively states that if the parent has an issue, that the IEP gets, the school finally has to actually go to fight to get the approval. So a parent can overrule, professionals, health professionals can overrule, special ed directors, teachers, what's in the best interest of the kid, and do their own, and then it requires the schools to then file, what do you call that, filing due process, thank you, to file due process instead of the parent. And so
Does it have significant momentum?
It started off last year, it kind of died pretty quickly, but the fact that it's back again this year means that it did catch some legs. And so, while it may not happen, it's something that definitely could be detrimental. And it's hard enough finding special education teachers and directors. And it'll be very hard if there is no control, and we're just letting anybody just make up the rules on what that's going to be. But anyways, those are just a few. Property tax ones, I know you, because I get the same ones from Missouri School Board Association. Any of those property taxes, we need to be talking to our legislators about. They're all detrimental. I know that we don't want to pay more taxes, but we can't. We're not seeing a reduction in expenditures. Our workforce continues to go up, our food goes up, our transportation goes up, our gasoline, our lights, our water, everything continues to go up. You can't see your revenues continue to go down. There's just no, like I said, I don't want to go ask for a tax increase, but when you keep seeing these, you're going to have not only Cameron, but you're going to have half the state of Missouri is going to be looking at a tax increase if you continue to cut property taxes. There's just no way around it. So I would watch very closely those property tax. I would be very involved in the income tax. I don't think anybody wants to pay an income tax. At the same time, when a huge portion of your budget is funded by income tax, and that's not just education, all budgets across the state of Missouri, where are you going to make up that money at? And that's going to be the problem. So,
do you have any input, or does the district, and how DESI's developing this A through F rating?
Yeah, I watched, we have a little, webinar Monday morning. In fact, I was up here Monday doing that. I know Dr. Ormsby actually watched the A to F presentation through MASA, and then I watched it on Monday. They talked a little bit about it. That's a little scary because they've dictated DESI to come up with an A to F type rating system, but even while they're already asking DESI to do that, the legislators are already going around and coming up with their own plans. And so they've already made it where no more than 10% of the school districts can actually be an A. No more than 25% can actually be a B. So if you do that, you're already putting 65% of your people in the C, D, and F category. So there's also a lot of legislation on that. Like I said, there's a lot of...
So they're forcing a bell curve.
Yes.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
if you have the same.
Even if you have it, yeah, even if they have it. So
It's like
there's
the old
legislation out
college
right now
ones.
that would, like I said, limit how many schools could actually be in each category. You could not have more than so many.
And is that
So-
DESI plan to come by June 30th? Is that?
I think the plan is by June 30th, and then it would be available to school districts on September 15th. This has kind of changed a little bit. I think the most recent is it would be available to school districts on the 15th, and then we would have 15 days to be able to share it with our people, and then it would become public knowledge as of September 30th.
And that's a governor's executive order. That's not,
Yes.
okay, so that's
Yeah.
going to happen.
That's going to happen. But like I said, they're already making changes to it in legislation with the legislators already. And they haven't even, DESI hadn't even shown their model yet, and legislators are already working on what they want in there. But there's not a lot of places for growth. It's going to be strictly based on just achievement. So there is no chances to show that a student moved here or there. It's just, did they achieve at the highest levels? So.
And then the MISHA governing board thing.
The Michigan Governing Board, yes, that is still, that's still pretty, that could be a real problem. I know that Mr. Erdman, Mr. Wink, and I sat with, well, a lot of people from Northwest Missouri, actually at our Performing Arts Center, and the director of MISHA spoke to our group about that and just encouraging, letters. We're talking about, governing boards, and at one time it was going to be like the last resort of a governing board. But now I think the latest, Mr. Urban, correct me, the governor's office would just run it, right? Yeah, like there wouldn't even be a governing board, that would just fall under DESI and fall under, so yeah, there wouldn't be even this higher board, which they talked about having as a appeal board. This would be totally ran by DESI and other people. And so, yeah, it just kind of gets a little scarier and scarier. We have our own organization, we vote on our own bylaws. Everybody has a chance to vote their bylaws, everybody has a chance to put in their own rules. I think we have a pretty good system the way it works, and I really worry about what happens when you have, DESI's not going to be able to run MISHA. As any of us know in this room, when you try to call DESI, you don't always even get anybody. So you're asking to add one more thing to their list that they're not going to be capable of handling. That's not going to work. So
I've just looked into this a little bit, and I'm just curious what government program has improved by the government taking over that program.
yeah, well, the government, we're here to help you. So
Right,
said nobody ever.
I think we've gotten, it's a ridiculous number of bills that have been attached to education. The party that is running the state used to be the party of less government, and is suddenly they want control of everything. It's kind of out of hand.
Yeah.
I think we need to really, really, really focus on local control and what's best for our kids.
I would agree. We have an elected board.
Right.
You guys have public access. We have those ways and means to do those. Now, should there be some rules and standards? Yes, but with MISHA, we already have those rules and standards. I wouldn't even like to think about what happens if you just, we have unlimited football games, or unlimited basketball games, or unlimited softball, or we just start doing all these things, we think kids are stressed out to the max now. Let a kid play 80 basketball games a year as part of their school. Because, some districts don't play any other sport than basketball. They'd love to play basketball, but I don't think it's what's best for a kid. I don't think it's, so.
It's also very concerning because MISHA is a private organization. It's a nonprofit private, just like the Chamber of Commerce, just like, you talk about, so for the government to talk about taking over a nonprofit private organization, that's extremely concerning when the government just decides they want to take over something. I'm not saying that we don't need accountability.
Right.
I'm not opposed to accountability, but I'm not opposed for government coming in and you're unhappy with whatever nonprofit wherever, and they're a nonprofit, and you decide you're just going to go in and govern them. I think we're on a slippery slope. I think that definitely, I would encourage letters and and conversations on that. And it's a bigger, I mean, education, yes, because that's where we are, but there's a bigger takeover that's wanting to happen down there, that they're wanting to start meddling in a lot of stuff that we were always less is more.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
Advocacy Day? Who else?
Yes, I know, that
Definitely.
March 10th,
March
I
10th.
know I've signed up to go.
Yeah.
I would assume we'll probably just, meet here and drive
Okay.
down that morning and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not sure who else is.
Yeah, I'd like
Signed
to
up.
go. Kelly, I need to.
And I think Randy's too.
Okay.
So, yeah, just keep your eyes open. As I've talked in our leadership meetings with our administrators, everybody from the principals to different organizations all have that. We need to be sharing that with staff, not to the point we want to concern people, but we need to let people know that they're aware. A lot of times, the only time legislators hear from people might be boards and superintendents. And so we need teachers, we need parents, need to be engaged in what this is all gonna happen, all these different impacts that could happen to our school. If we were doing the foundation formula right, there should be, not for us, but for the state, there should be a $190 million increase. And, they're effectively keeping that flat. So that means we can already count on, and as I'm budgeting for next year, I'm not counting on any new revenues for state. And if you continue, that's no new revenues, so here we are, and I guarantee I'll have expenses that will go up. Inflation's still at 2%, so I can consider a 2% increase on all my expenditures, but my revenues are gonna stay flat, so.
And really, I think we can all agree that this is not political. This is about what's best for kids.
Right.
You can't pull away that much money. And even if you say you're not cutting,
No,
if it remains flat in an inflationary environment, that's a budget cut. And
Yes.
That's what we're looking
I mean,
at.
we're already looking at a state that's, in the bottom 40s of paying your staff, and we're gonna continue to cut that ability to be able to pay staff.
Well, then we wonder why education morale is low.
Yeah,
I
or why
mean, I
nobody
think-
wants to go into education.
Right.
And even if
This
you leave
experiment-
salaries flat, health insurance goes up.
Oh,
So it's
They did this
it's
in Kansas,
increase.
and it nearly
Yeah.
cost them their education system, so.
And I agree, I think we need parents involved, teachers involved, but parents specifically really to get involved and to understand what's happening on the state level with education and what your school is to your local community and try to bring back some focus on local control in your local elected board to represent the community.
And then I'm just gonna to take state public monies and endow private non-accountable schools
Mhm.
is wrong in my view. And
Yep.
so that's
And
what
while
we're
we don't
looking
have money, we've increased that $10 million.
at. Yes,
Yeah, they won't get a grade.
And they don't get a grade.
and they don't
But they
have
have-
they don't have to take everybody
Yeah.
that is ready to come to school. They decide who they take. It's just wrong.
Thanks for the update.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thanks for that, Dr. Robinson.
Exactly.
And now we're going to listen to an update on health insurance.
Yeah, even better news. So, we just want to share a little bit about health insurance overview. Probably just a little bit later than this time last year, our current company, MUHP, was not doing well. We were having trouble paying all the claims. And so they assessed every school district based on claims, based on your loss ratio, based on how many lives you had. And we didn't have any other options but to stay with MUHP last year. And so we ended up spending $430,000, I think 433, I think was the numbers in my head, that we ended up having to pay for an assessment last year because we needed that money to be able to pay out all the run-out claims. A lot of other districts did have options, and so out of the 91 districts that went into that boat last year and had to pay something, 35 of those left. So now we're down to 56 school districts. What happened after that was we had the assessment. We thought that would reduce our run-out claims and that would cover them. Well, it didn't. And when the 35 districts left, they left us holding the bag for the other 56 holding all those extra run-out claims for everybody, not including, so effectively 56 districts are now responsible for 91 run-out claims. So this last Thursday, I went to a meeting with MEUHP. We've actually been given I guess, a chance to vote as of this morning. We have 4 or 5 days to do that. But effectively, they're having another assessment. Right now at the end of the year, I should say at the end of the year, but at the end of January, our pool for 56 districts only had $153,000 in the bank. That's not going to be able to cover the expenses. So they're issuing another assessment. Regardless of whether we get in or out, I guess there is an option if we stayed in, it would be less, but the chances are this is 2 years in a row. You're going to be back in this boat again next year. But our assessment for next year is $414,219. So that's 2 years in a row. I've paid $850,000, or we'll have paid almost $850,000 for health insurance. It's not premiums, that's just extra. And so obviously that's putting a major pinch on the budget, and is going to. There's no two ways around it. And so my first suggestion is, one, we got to get out of MEUHP. The pool is sick. We're looking at other options to go to. And that's the first part is we're going to have to pay $414,000. That's going to hurt a little bit. The second part is right now we pay about $7,300 per person per year for health insurance, and that's what we pay. And what we're being told is our probably smallest increase is going to be, I think 30% is what I'm looking at, and we haven't seen final numbers, but when I'm hearing this and talking to people, we're probably going to see a 30% increase, and I've seen as much as 80% increase. And that's going to be really, really tough sledding if we're going to try to pay that like we have for all employees and continue to be able to offer health insurance plan that's affordable for everybody and be able to pay all those. And so that's kind of going to be the second option after the assessment, is trying to figure that out. And then, you know, I'm starting to look at, if you start looking at these pools, there's another pool that kind of started in Southwest Missouri. I've tried to get into it for a while. It's called OSBA. It's kind of Ozark School Board type thing. Like I said, they kind of started in Southwest Missouri, but they're all over the state now and have 100+ schools and lots of lives. But they started off July 1st with a $20 million reserve. After they ran their run-out claims, they paid $10 million out. So now their reserves are at $10 million. So the fact of the matter is, if you pay 10 one year and you've only got 10 another, you're probably, if you're, they said they will take any school district as part of MEUHP. Well, if we're a sick pool, we're just moving sick to sick. And it's only going to be a matter of time before that pool will then end up being, you know, the smart ones will be able to get out if they can, and the rest will be stuck in there, and then you'll start seeing assessments there. So I'd like to tell you there's a really good option that we're going to be able to move to. And we haven't seen final pieces yet. I'm working at least 5 different companies and brokers to see what type of rates we can acquire and find for our people. Because it is important. I mean, we need to be able to offer health insurance. It is something that we, you know, that people do need, and it's just unfortunate how it is, and with the size of our district, that it doesn't take very many catastrophic events in a school our size or any other to really, you know, damage. You know, I think we're at a better loss ratio right now, but we're at 137%, which means, you know, they're spending $1.37 for every dollar I give them. And that's just not a plan for good business if they're insurance companies. Especially when they'd like you to see you run about 80%. So
we're not sustainable as a lone wolf.
Well, we were always a lone wolf, and we thought getting a pool would actually help. That we would actually, in the first year it did, and in the last 2 we've now been, you know, assessed, and it wasn't very good, and we were probably better off being on our own. But the problem is, you get a couple of these catastrophic events and you're on your own, then you're really hurting.
Are you talking about self-insured, or are you talking about just?
Just being our own.
Just being kind of our own
Our own
entity, but
group,
not our
yeah.
own self-insured. I'm not,
Yeah.
well, I don't know that I want to tackle
That
that.
would be hard.
Very hard.
Yeah.
So, I've known districts that almost went bankrupt trying to be
Yeah, that doesn't
self-insured,
sound great.
so. Yeah, so, we've obviously got the assessment over our heads, so I'm working on how we pay that and maintain budgets, but then, like I said, the second problem will be looking at how we, when these rates come back, which we should have by the March board meeting when they come back, of how we're gonna be able to pay for those and, you know, pay for employees and what we may have to do to be able to pay for employees with us, so.
And currently, we pay the premium for the employee, except for like, what, $13 or something?
We pay like the basic plan for, I think, everybody.
Okay.
But it's probably, that used to probably be a higher, what I would call a richer plan. That's probably now a $5,000 high deductible health plan that we're paying for now.
And just the employee.
And just the employee, yeah. Yeah, we've never paid for anything other than just the
Oh,
employee.
I know what it was. We used to put some money into an HSA.
We used to be able to put money in the HSA. In fact, that was a big thing when HSAs were out was, you know, our rate might have been $550, but an HSA rate to take a $5,000 was only, the premium was only $400. So we paid you that difference between the $400 and put it into your HSA account. So for a lot of staff, that was a great deal. They were building up money, you know, as they went along each month, and we were paying the same thing we would have paid had you taken another plan. So now we're at the point where I think, I think we're at the point where, you know, even maybe, you might be right, maybe if the smallest one, this makes having to pay $13.
It was minimal.
Yeah, it is minimal, but I think you're, yeah, so.
Have any of the brokers looked at our claims and tried to figure out, you know, our usage, places we can tweak, you know, because ER visits are more expensive than urgent care, and so can you tweak the deductibles to incent?
We're looking at all those options. We're looking at prescription coverages, we're looking at if you have to raise deductibles to be able to, you know, if we have to raise deductibles to be able to get a better rate. We'll have to look at every option there is, and we're looking at all those that get utilized. Now, while I don't see who the claims are, usually we're small enough, I know, you know, generally where those are, and, you know, the worst part about health insurance is without it, those people would be really out in the cold, and they're the ones that need the coverage. Nobody asks for those things that happen to them, and so,
Do we still have salary and welfare committee that you communicate all this with, like?
I do towards the end of the year. This is early right now, so when I usually meet and start talking about salaries, but I have been sending letters to staff, letting them know where we were at with everything, with, you know, with budgets, with where state revenues are, or where our revenues are. I've been trying to keep the whole district, you know, abreast of that information so they know. And then once, you know, I wanted to present this to you guys, then this week, everybody in staff will get kind of the news you guys just received, so they know where we're at and what we're doing and why we're trying to do it. So.
Did you say you have to vote on this in the next 5 days?
So, and my recommendation is we have to get out of MEUHP. It's cost us $850,000 in 2 years, and, you know, even if it means we'd have to pay a little bit less, which isn't much less we'd have to pay, and there's no guarantee that that's what it'll be, because I think the simple majority and the 56 will be voting on that. And like I said, we're not the only district that got an assessment. Every district got it.
So I mean, I think that this is unsustainable, and it sounds like the pool itself is unsustainable.
It is.
So I mean, if we don't make the decision to leave, we're gonna be the only ones left in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
I
the
think I
other
know where I stand on
pool,
this.
yeah.
That we need to be looking and searching to try to find something that works for us.
That-
That this current plan is not working for us.
and I think the other one is on that slippery slope.
Yeah.
It most likely is.
It's just.
Yeah.
It was a nice try, you know, you pull districts
Yeah.
together and you try to get a group and then.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones, and I've said this for years, and I don't know, we almost need one for the entire state. Like it's, like you have, you know, I see Mr. Cross here, you know, he's part of, you know, a state plan with highway department, highway patrol, you know, all those different ones. You know, it'd be nice if we had one that all educators were just a part
Yes.
of, and then you know, it would cut down your risk, you know, a lot. Because even in a pool like that, when you know, there's only 4 districts bigger than us in this pool. I think Poplar Bluff, no, West Plains, Excelsior, Fulton, and I can't remember who else, but that might be it. Maybe we're the 4th or 5th. So, but when all the rest of the districts are, you know, DeKalb, Norburn, school size, I mean, we're covered.
Are there states that have a state educator plan?
Yeah, I don't know that, so.
Thanks for the information.
Yep.
All right, moving on to administrative reports, we're gonna jump the high school report up in front.
Yep,
so-
thank you. Yeah.
No, thank you guys for letting me jump up and go first. Few celebrations to kind of boost the mood a little bit.
Please.
Sunday, our NHS and our sponsor, Mr. Boswell, they did, the February focus for the month was Mental Health Awareness Month, and so they wrote and drew positive messages. If you come up to the high school, our sidewalks are covered, upstairs and downstairs. So want to give a shout out to them and Mr. Boswell for taking time to come up on Sunday to do that. Monday, Mrs. Webb, she was here earlier. She gave up her day, part of the career ladder, but gave up her extra day off to offer herself to help students with scholarships if they chose to sign up to take advantage of that. So I want to give her a shout out for doing that on Monday and taking the time out of her day to help kids. Today was Rack Day, so Random Acts of Kindness Day. We had PJ Day, and so various games that our counseling department organized. They had a rock, paper, scissors tournament challenge, Racco Bingo. They did shout outs to staff members at lunch, and they'll be divvying those out and handing those out to staff members tomorrow. And then at Dragon Time, had some fun with them doing a scavenger hunt. So want to thank Mrs. Riles and Miss Clay for organizing that. And then just some upcoming events. One happened this last weekend. Maddie Hedgepeth and Kiana Green qualified for state wrestling. Boys will be this weekend. And then, of course, we have Showfest Saturday too. So a very busy Friday, Saturday coming up at the high school this week. Any questions?
I mean, it had a lot of sickness.
Yes, and our attendance dropped a little bit, but yes, it was, flu hit us heavy. So, and I think you probably look at every building, unfortunately, we're still, I won't say reaping the benefits of it, but we're out. But I know Mr. Mackey and our custodians, evening crew, they're doing a good job trying to keep the building as clean as possible. So, using our Clorox machines and things like that, encouraging kids to wash their hands, things like that. Obviously, staying home if you are sick. But we'll get back
Showfest,
there.
they have like 17 choirs coming? Is
Yeah,
that
17
awesome? That's
different
great.
schools. Yeah, it'll be busy in Cameron on Saturday if you're out and about.
Cameron will do their exhibition later in the
Yep.
evening, like, I don't know.
5:45.
Yeah, like close,
Yeah, I'd say it's
4:30,
early evening.
4:45.
Yeah.
So, if you can come out and watch them,
Yeah,
they are
it'll be-
worth watching this year.
Yeah.
They are every year,
Yeah,
really
they're rocking it right now.
Yeah.
They finished 11th this last weekend at Harrisonville total, and then
Yeah.
won our division. So
That's great, yeah.
Dr. Dirks and Mr. T are rocking it, and our kids.
And
under
when
their
we say they
leadership.
finished 11th overall, it's against like 5A schools.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah, like you're
it's all the
talking
way up.
big
Yeah.
schools. Yeah, not just our size. Yeah, you're
And good luck to our wrestlers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's always
exciting.
good.
It's a busy time, and then we hit the spring, and it gets even busier.
And it rains.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Alright, should we do high school activities now or
No, we can go ahead and do special.
skip on?
service.
Special services.
jumping up.
Come on.
Come on up, high school activities.
We might change your
Come on
mind.
down.
Do you want me to answer about high school activities? What would you like to know? So I had a couple celebrations, but someone in the back row asked me not to share one, that he's going to steal it, so I'm gonna allow that. I could take it. So personal celebration is that we are done uploading 30 special education files for DESE for them to review. They have to review 200 standards. So we'll get more instructions in March, but that's quite the upload, going through everybody's files and uploading that information for DESE. It's a little stressful at times, so. I'm personally excited that that's over. Every 3 years we have to do that.
I wanted to, Cassie was here and I kind of wanted to give her a shout out, but between our transition teacher, special ed teacher, right now it's actually back to Andy Brown because she's covering maternity leave, but it's been Samantha Gilmore. She's gone right now. We got a big kudos from our pre-ETS program. They came in and they talked about how wonderful it is to have a teacher actually sit in on those meetings. So it's kind of like what the root ed guy just said, that our students that need the most help don't always have the help that they need. And so having a teacher that knows the family, that can get the information, can contact the parents and say, hey, we need this done, is super helpful, rather than just them meeting with the kid and the kid saying, I have no idea what that means, and moving on. So it's one of the reasons we have a lot of kids involved in that program and get help after high school. So kudos to our teachers for doing that. And then my other celebration, I'm just gonna pass this around so you guys can see in your board report, like this picture right here. So 2 of our staff members went above and beyond. Ashley Danner and Miss Rachel Garlick went above and beyond and made this little handmade dribbling device that they saw on TikTok for students to participate in Special Olympics. So part of the Special Olympics event that we just had was basketball, shooting, passing, and one is dribbling. Well, when you're in a wheelchair and you don't have the best motor skills, it's really hard to dribble. So they made this out of the exercise bands and wrapped it up so he could dribble and it would stay where it was supposed to, so he could hit it. And I'm not kidding, the smile on his face and all the other kids wanted to come over and dribble with him, it was a sight to be seen. So kudos to them for going above and beyond, because that wasn't something that was required. He can push, a ball off of him and that sort of thing and participate, but this was to the next level. So wanted to give them a little kudos, because that day is special anyway, but with that extra, it was really great. Other school districts were looking at it, seeing if they could do the same thing for some of their students. They had other students in wheelchairs using it, so it was really cool. So, kudos to them.
I always appreciate the pictures with the kids. They just look so happy and
They are.
engaged.
Yep, they are. There's lots of fun pictures in there. Like I said, I can't share them all because Mr. Fisher would like to share some of it with his building stuff, but we have a lot of great things going that the kids just get to do on a daily basis, or at least monthly, like our Special Olympics events monthly. So we've got 2 that are going to be in Cameron coming up fairly soon. So if anybody wants to join us for those days, come on out.
What are those days?
Cool. 10th or 11th.
They're on their report.
They are
that's all
April
right.
9th is the wiffle ball, and that is also our autism awareness night for the baseball game. And the kids will go out and throw out the first pitch, and the kids will be involved with that. And then May 6th, we're doing soccer.
Thanks.
So 2 more of those.
Sounds
Questions?
like the staff is going above and beyond, so.
Staff is really going above and beyond, and it's
Let them know that we appreciate that.
it's not always the easiest job. It's hard, lots of hard days. When school's hard, that a lot of times comes with behaviors, and so the fact that they go above and beyond and try to make things
Yeah.
smoother
Yeah.
and better is really nice to see.
Yeah, that's on them taking that extra step,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
that is seen here, so
That is-
pass that along if you could.
definitely a cool thing for them to do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Parkview Elementary School report.
Hello.
Hello.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to the classroom teachers. We brought a math specialist in from Northwest RPDC, and she's really helping us to focus on math fluency and number sense in some creative ways, and the teachers have really embraced that, and listening to them collaborate about how they're going to implement has been, well, we're having fun geeking out and getting back into the curriculum and instruction types of things. I still love it. So that's been fun. We've had a hugely successful open library nights, authors club. The first session has ended. They're starting a new one now. They have 30 kids interested again this session. And then we had a couple of teachers, Courtney Mans and then Megan Law. They did Valentine Ventures this past month. They did it for 2 nights to accommodate Authors Club and tutoring, and they had 60 to 75 families each night. So we're really still able to draw a good crowd to those after-school learning events. So I'm pretty proud of them. Other than we've had lots of the flu, all the flus, the COVIDs, and the roto-rooter virus sweeping the nation through there. So
You were back to 90 today, right?
we did hit 90. Actually, we hit 94 by the time we did PM pre-K.
Wow.
And there were only 2 throw-ups. Code green.
Is that a
Those
technical
are
term?
code greens. We have
Code green.
code brown.
Oh.
Code brown's thrown in there. Code yellow.
Wow.
So,
Oh, gosh. Is your staff staying healthy?
no.
Everybody's sharing.
Everybody shares.
Sharing
It's
is
hard, especially with the littles. It's hard. Who's gonna turn away a hug from a sweet little face? No one. And they tend to be in your proximity when they code green too. So,
Yeah.
but we're trying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, CIS report.
After you, dear.
I do not have high school sports report, but
You know enough about it, though.
I could tell you all about Misha. It's a lot of conversation in my
Oh.
house right now. So when your husband's an 80, there's a lot of conversation about that. So just to add to the board report, CIS just wants to thank the Board of Education for your dedication to our school and district. We hope you enjoy your phone holders.
Those
that
are,
3D printed.
is that 3D print?
Uh-huh.
Those are
Mrs.
lovely.
Holmes did that for us. Leadership team kind of decided how they wanted things. And the leadership team's social event for this month was for staff to make charcuterie boards, but they're boxes, and they actually made one for each of you. And they're upstairs. Miss Kelly will help you get yours after. They're all different, but they're up in the refrigerator. I didn't think you probably wanted them sitting here since 4 o'clock. So. And then ultimately, we are just head down plugging away in academics. I counted before I came over, and I haven't told staff yet, so I'm glad this isn't streamed everywhere. We have 34 days till we take MAP, 34 school days till we take MAP. That's not very many days. So the teachers do a great job. I'm thankful that the weather has been good. We've been in school, but right now, head down, moving forward hard. So 34 days, and say some prayers for us when we need it.
It does not surprise me that you know that number.
Well, I just counted before I came because I was doing some other work and I was, getting a little high blood pressure. So I thought I better just count and see. Yeah, 34. So we're good. Did the map schedule today, so ready to go.
Wow.
Any questions for me?
Just please thank your
Thank
staff.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Please
Yeah.
share with
It's
them.
a little note and
Yeah, their little signatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, very neat. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Very thoughtful.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
I didn't know y'all got charcuterie boards. My gift may not seem quite as
Great.
so. Mary, I made her give me this one before the night started because I have two of our functional classrooms in my building, and so Braxton Pope and Ashley Danner. I think there's even one for Dr. Robinson, although you may have to give it to Jackie. I don't know. But this one would be for Jackie, I guess. Angie started. And so they made these bracelets. Their classes, the functional kids made these bracelets and sold them at lunch for $3 as a fundraiser. And so I had some money laying around in my office, and so we wanted to give them to you guys. And so they worked hard. They made them. They made the labels, and then they spent 2 days in our lunch shifts and sold them to students. And if you know middle school students, day one they didn't sell hardly any, because nobody remembered, and then day two they had a line to sell those. So that was one of my celebrations that I told Mary I got. And so since they're, she wanted to share, but she gave me the chance to do that. So those are what they made and did a fundraiser, and it was really well received. So if you know kids, you know middle school kids love bracelets of any kind. So it was pretty cool. I just had a couple other celebrations. As far as activities go, it is kind of a quieter time of year for us, if there's such a thing. We do have an academic team right now, and they're actually having a great season. I think they've won most of their tournaments, and then they placed second at the MEC tournament this weekend, the 7th graders did. And so I'm not sure how many schools were there. But I think a Parent Square went out with a picture of that group today, and so they've done really, really well. And so it's a small group, but they're mighty and they're doing really, really well. We had over 100 kids perfect attendance in January, but it was kind of cyclical. All those kids are probably sick now. And so, but they made it through January. And so, yeah, we're struggling with that as well. Knock on wood, our staff has done a little bit better job. Again, I don't think we get quite as close to our students as the younger kids do, and there's a good reason for that. And so our staff has done reasonably well on that. The other thing that I wanted to share is we do have a couple new clubs starting, which we're pretty excited about. Mrs. Zubek is going to start 3 different book clubs. And so she's chosen some books. We sent out some information today with a sign up that'll lead to a parent permission slip for that, but she's going to be leading several book clubs for students. And so hopefully that'll get some kids something that they can do if they're not involved in other things, especially during the time which we don't have a lot of extracurriculars occurring. And so she's done that. And so, so those are some of the things that we had going on at school, and we're plugging away like everybody else. So,
Great.
questions for us?
Thank you for the.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I've already
Thank
broken mine.
Yeah, well, I noticed a little of them. Sometimes it struggled with adult wrists, but it's still, you can hang it somewhere. I put mine around my cup, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep, all right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'll get you a water, because I know you really want one.
Now can we do high school
Yes.
activities? Okay, high school activities, questions? Okay. Dr. Ormsby.
Are you sure?
It's your turn.
Nobody else left.
Oh, no choice, huh? All right. In my board report, I highlighted that we had completed 349 formal walkthroughs in the district so far this year, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the administrators who are completing those walkthroughs. They're doing a very good job. I am doing what I'm calling a, what did I call it? See, I just drew a blank. Oh goodness, I had a cute little name. Well, I'm going and doing observations with them, even though I can't think of the name of it. And that's just been really fun to go and see all the great things that are going on in the building. I did it in the fall, and then am continuing that this spring, and then I'm having what I call chats with them, where we sit and discuss what we observed, and then just trying to help them as we kind of have one foot in this school year and the other in the next school year, and making thoughtful decisions. And I'm just very proud of them for the consideration that they have for our students and staff, and I think we're gearing up for a good year next year. In my growth mindset, I shared with you what we've been doing in our PLC meetings. We continue to have strong positive reviews from our leadership teams. We are completing those with Kendra Watson from Northwest RPDC. And I do have a poster that hopefully I'll be able to put up in here. It is this here where it says D times V times FS is greater than R. And that just stands for dissatisfaction times vision times first steps is greater than resistance. And that is the change formula that she is teaching us to use with our buildings, teaching the leadership teams how to use that with their team, whether it's their grade level team or their content team. And it seems simple, but when you actually apply it, it's very, very powerful. And we've been doing that together as a team, and I thought, I promised you at the beginning of the year I would acclimate you to the PLC process, and thought this was very appropriate, that would be something that you too could employ. I know if you go to the second image where it talks about Tuckman's 5 stages of group development, when I was creating my board report, I thought about how that applies to a school board and how it's so cyclical, and every year you're regrouping and you're saying potentially goodbye to some and hello to new members, and you start that process over and over. It's very reminiscent of a school leadership team where we have turnover or we have retirement, attrition, and we are always regrouping and going through that. So part of the training is your group forms, and then we love the phrase storming and norming. And that's where the hard work, you're smiling, Ann, because you remember that, I'm sure. It's where the hard work really comes into play. It's where you align your ideas and you develop respect for each other, even though your ideas might not be exactly the same. You learn how to come together and show respect for one another and ultimately make decisions based on what's best for children. So it's a very powerful process. And I would encourage you, if you ever have a tough decision to make, you look at that change formula and you just start listing, what are we dissatisfied with? And you make a list of, just pick one topic. What are all the reasons why we're dissatisfied? And then what is our vision for this area? What do we want the outcome to be? We begin with the end in mind, as we're famous for saying at Cameron. And then first steps, how do we start? How do we get off on the right foot here? What are the steps that we take to do this? And when you start building that, you will quickly determine that you have all these things in place, and that's much greater than what resistance you would have to whatever the issue is. If it's not, then you need to go back. Just like a math formula, you've got to go back and you've got to work on the steps. You've got to come together and problem solve more. So it's just a neat concept. It's a great visual. We are actually, have that up now in every conference room in every building. So when our teams are meeting and they're in the process of storming and norming, they have that to reflect upon, and it's been really good for the district. So, and then,
Thank you for sharing.
yeah, you're welcome. And then lastly, I just wanted to give you an update on our title tiered monitoring process that I've been going through all year. I think I mentioned that also at the beginning of the year, so I just wanted to give you an update. About every other month, I have a huge submission to DESE based on whatever they ask of me. So October's self-monitoring submission, that was approved, so we've got that one checked off and completed. And then our McKinney-Vento homeless program review has been approved. And then currently, we are in the process of approval for finance, December self-monitoring, and the foster care program. So I've submitted all of those, and then the only one we have yet that's really in progress and has just kind of started is reviewing our policy for migrants. So it's all going well. It's been a lot to learn, and I'll be glad that we only have to do it every 3 years.
When you submit that data, is it, you put it in a spreadsheet, and send the spreadsheet, or you have to type things in, or
Just
how does it?
depends on what they have a whole laundry list of things that they want. Sometimes it's a PDF, sometimes it's a meeting minutes, it can be an agenda. Letters that we're required to have from Children's Division, letters that, memorandums of understanding, board policy. It's just really a toss-up. So they do give you a pretty outlined list, and they have webinars for all of it that you can watch, and it's very labor intensive, but I think it's important for holding schools accountable, and there's nothing wrong with that. So.
Is it something that once you do it once, is it easier to do it the second time?
No, because they change it constantly. So I thought that, and then someone laughed at me and said, "Oh, like, like, you poor naive thing." It won't be that way in 3 years. They'll change it, and it'll be in a completely new list. So, and then I did go to Chillicothe 2 weeks ago and attended a CSIP meeting in preparation for being under review for CSIP. And I was under the understanding that started with next school year, but learned at the meeting that actually we start uploading in August, but I will have to start preparing now. So I'll be doing these two pieces simultaneously. So I will be reaching out to you in the coming months just to be in preparation for that. DESE's got a lot on their plate, as you said
And
earlier.
they need more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any questions on that? Okay.
Parent Square. It was
Yes.
probably this time last year we made the decision to move that.
Roughly. Yeah.
We happy? I see that.
I think we've been really happy with it. Yeah, I think I'm seeing more and more, I mean, just postings. I don't hear complaints from parents about it. I mean,
I gave you a
Yeah,
little
so that kind
update.
of stood out.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you liked that, kind
Yeah.
of see that ever so often.
Yeah.
teachers,
So
everybody.
seeing that, I mean, are you getting
Oh,
good
yeah.
feedback?
Yeah,
Yep,
and I
great
love the
feedback.
reports. I get a report, and I think I might have shared it with you guys at one point in time, like what I see every Monday or Sunday night. I get like a whole report on,
A digest.
the digest on who's, and they'll show me what teachers have, who's led in postings, who's done this, how many postings came from the high school, how many came from, it's been great. I mean, we've put a lot of stuff out there.
0 complaints.
That's great.
I think the calendar function, I know I say this every time, but that's super important and super, super helpful. So, encouraging
Yeah.
teachers and sponsors and whoever put that out there, because that, I think, cuts down on frustration due to lack of information,
Right.
because kids, surprisingly, kids don't bring things home, and you find out, I'm not saying anything's like broken, but I just think continue to, I really
did
appreciate
visit with
that.
all of them about it, and their hesitation was that we have so many events, if we put them all on one day, that it would be so cumbersome to even navigate the calendar. So I don't know if we need to narrow it down or do different ones, but
Would they be broken out by building or?
it
It's
is
still-
now.
It's a lot.
It is
It's
now,
still-
but
it's
at
a
one
lot.
point we
Sports
talked
and
about.
activities, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. Yeah.
It is by building now, but at one point the request was to have one giant calendar, and that was almost deemed impossible. By the time
Yes.
You put all the building's events on there.
Doesn't
but
that feed the website though?
It's, what's that?
Doesn't it feed the website calendar?
I believe the one that's on there is,
I thought they were tied together.
yes, but I think Mr. Eckert is the one that controls the one that's on the website. So we would have to, I think he's manually putting those events on there, so we would need to look at that. We could link each building's calendar and do that on the district page, maybe have, like a sidebar where people could go. That would be easy. It'd all be in one spot. I think the biggest thing is that when you have to go 10 different pages to find something, that makes it tough. But the calendars are on each building's page, but we could put it on the district page and combine it.
I think that's just a really beneficial thing to have for community members to be able to figure out what's going on and, when's the show choir festival or when's the basketball game,
I
when's the
agree.
FFA contest or whatever.
I agree.
Or the career fair, like school stuff too.
Yeah,
It's really helpful. I appreciate the work on it.
yeah, and year one, so we're building still.
Well,
There's no
we're a
doubt.
month and a half in. I'm not giving up on them. We'll keep working on it and keep making improvements.
I'm seeing more and more. I mean, by not having a student in there, so it's a different perspective. So
Yes.
I'm a community member, I do have access to the parent square, very limited, but I'm seeing more and more on the website that I'm starting to find things a little bit
Yes.
easier about when an activity is happening. So, yeah, just keep adding.
Yeah, that's
Brittany Simpson's sports media class, they do a really good job of front-loading events and putting those out there. And we did push out, there's an option to sign up for an activities portion of Parent Square. So if you are someone who doesn't want to have your news feed muddied up with all of the different activities, you can opt out. But if you are somebody that really enjoys that, then you sign up and you can see everything that's going on.
Even board member, or is that just for parents?
It's for parents.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's
But it's
understandable.
still, as a board member, a community member, you can get a lot of,
Yeah, I go to the
appreciate
website
it.
now and find,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, when's the next whatever, and I can,
Yeah.
So I've heard positive,
Mhm.
within the community. I just was wondering from the district side.
No, I feel like it's been very useful. Yeah, and it's very easy to use.
That's,
Yeah, easy
That's
to use
important.
is great.
Goodness knows you've got plenty of other stuff to do.
Definitely.
And the participation rate, I mean, you've got phenomenal participation rate now, like the number of emails, the parents with emails and that's, yeah. So you got
I think it's a good sign when I'm looking for information and I default to, I've missed it somewhere and I go back and look and it's there, you know, like I think we all have that, oh, it's not out there, you know, but then you look and a lot of times it's right there to find now, so it's,
Yeah.
it's good. Just keep it up, I think it's really useful,
I agree.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, on to patron agenda items. We have Mr. Dan Landy first to talk with us about teacher retention. Is he on the line? That was Jackie. Just making sure.
Well, I have, Mr. Landy, can you hear me? He's muted himself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, very good.
Hello,
Okay.
Mr. Landy.
You're on, Mr. Landy.
Mr. Landy, we're,
Okay. Now,
Oh,
since I'm not there and I can't, and there's no video, by the way, it's just audio only. All the board members present?
yes. Well, actually, Stacy Early is not here and Jackie Peck is here via telephone.
Is it possible to turn?
Okay, can Mrs. Peck hear me okay?
Miss-
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I can hear you.
She can hear you.
Okay, very good. How much time do I get?
You get 5 minutes, and I will. Okay. We'll start when you're ready.
All right, and also, would you let me know when I get down to a minute, because I can't see the timer.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. Okay, tonight I'd like to speak about teacher retention. Before I do, though, I'd like to say a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death, amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Okay, thanks. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Teacher retention is my topic, and I know already I can almost hear you're probably thinking, hey, first of all, Landy's an a-hole, and second of all, he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. So what's he doing talking about teacher retention? Well, I can't speak with some authority on teacher retention because I did used to substitute teach there in Cameron for several years, and I do know firsthand about what some of what the teachers go through. Not everything day to day, but I have seen the classroom from the inside, so I do have some insight to what I'm about to tell you. So I'm hoping that if you all, with open ears and open minds, you might receive this and actually take some of it to heart. So, first of all, why does teacher retention matter? Because great teachers are hard to find, and they're even harder to keep. And they drive the student achievement. Without good teachers, you can't expect to have high student academic achievement. Losing teachers means losing expertise and losing the student-teacher relationship and the continuity in the classroom. Also, retention matters because turnover disrupts learning, it drains resources, and it weakens the school culture. Retention is a strategic investment in student outcomes. So let me say a word about financial compensation, because I heard Matt Robinson mention this earlier, about the budget crisis and such. But big government, as you mentioned earlier, big government solution to a lot of these problems is always throwing more money at the problem and expecting it to improve. But seldom that ever happens. More money doesn't necessarily mean that the problems will automatically get fixed. idea though, in lieu of throwing money at the problem, in lieu of that, here's some things I would like to see maybe the district try. Teachers need time and space to focus on instruction and not be bogged down by non-instructional burdens. Okay, non-instructional burdens that I'm talking about are like excessive paperwork, supervising lunches and recesses and bus duty and whatever, all the additional duties that teachers have to pull. And I wouldn't say bathroom monitors, but we know that's not happening. Managing behavioral or emotional crisis without adequate support. I know teachers have to put up with a lot in the classroom, and some of it is even legitimate concerns from students, emotional problems or whatever, and they're not, without adequate support from counselors and from administrators, the teachers can't do it alone, and it just adds extra burden on them. Teachers also have to cover classes when substitutes are unavailable. Sometimes you just sort of help, and that creates extra stress on the teachers. Handling parent issues that require administrative intervention. A lot of times it's not the students that are the problem, it's the parents that are the problem.
Mr. Landy, you have 1 minute left. 1 minute left.
Troubleshooting, thank you. Troubleshooting technology problems that should be handled by IT staff. So those are some of the things that drag the teachers down, and I understand that. Every hour spent on these tasks is an hour taken away from teaching. So, let's talk about the things that promote productivity. Guaranteed staffing, manageable classes, leadership training, curriculum decisions that involve teachers in curriculum decisions. So those are some of the things that I think the school could and should consider. So in closing, retaining great teachers requires an intentional policy and sustained investment. Good teachers are an investment. Treat educators as essential professionals whose work shapes every student's future. And that's true, they do shape the kids' future. And fairly, unlike the way that you, the board, treated Rachel Barlow recently.
Mr. Landy, your time has expired. Mr. Landy, your time has expired. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Okay. Next on the agenda is Ms. Margaret Ida Hubbard to talk with us about fundamental civics. So you'll have 5 minutes and I'll put this where you can see it.
Okay. I hope get through this. I've been fussing with this for some time and it's a mess.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Hi guys, I'm Margaret Ida, I use both names, Hubbard. And I guess you know I'm one of those crazy people running in the school board election this year. Volunteering for a pretty hard job. I know, I looked it up. I found a simple summary article asking, what does a school board do for a school district? One of the things it did was list about 4 general categories of school board responsibilities. Establishing educational policies, managing school district finances, overseeing the superintendent, and engaging with the community. That's a lot of stuff. And I see this board doing a lot of it. It's just the last one I have a complaint about. My complaint is that as I've attended meetings and observed the Cameron R-1 School Board in action, what I've seen in some public meetings and what I've read in some board policies seems to come across in a way more like almost a secret combination than a public school board meeting. Actually has the effect of discouraging public engagement from the community. And fundamentally, American civics is based on public engagement. Everybody is part of the government. The people's participation is vital to America's civic health. You realize, I hope, that the public interest in schools in America was never an interest in raising kids. I've lost my spot. It was a commitment to sustaining good government and protecting those foundational principles that promote a people's happiness. You've probably heard the quotation, religion, morality, and knowledge being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind, schools and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. So our forefathers weren't concerned about which religion folks chose to follow. They just pointed out the need for people to have a belief system and to have some standards of good and bad behavior and to have enough knowledge upon which to base some critical thinking. So the main purpose of encouraging schools and other ways of learning was not curriculum, what or even how people gained knowledge. It was that they gained knowledge, because that was what would qualify them for responsible civic engagement in good government. Now, I grew up with public schools, 12 years of it. My kids grew up in 12 public schools, 26 years of it. And I have post-high school institutions of higher learning supported my associate degree in nursing, my bachelor's in counseling, and my master's in education. Public schools really are the places where I found the opportunities to become an educated, useful member of the community. And I try to be everywhere I've lived in America. I think I learned it partly because my parents were part of it and because I was part of it and so on. So let's encourage the same thing here in Cameron. I think a first step would be go through a few of the policies, maybe review and rewrite them so that they invite people to be more engaged in the community. And I guess if you want to know the numbers I came up with, see if I have them on here. I did have them somewhere. Oh, well, they were the ones about talking tonight and so on. Could I just say one last final thought? Yeah, I found this meeting tonight more engaging than I have almost any other meeting I've attended. I appreciate that. Civic engagement is how the country got its start. It's what made it strong. It's what will keep us strong. And it's the base of fundamental American civics. And I just want to encourage us to do it here in Cameron. I thank you for your attention. And I thank you for the amazing work you're all doing as volunteer members of the Cameron School Board.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving to the next spot on the agenda, we're going to talk about bids on our high school edition.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull this up. So you can have a chance to look at all the different companies that bid. It actually might be the most amount of companies we've ever had bid on a project. But if you remember right, when we passed the bond last April, we had an $8 million bond issue. And our lowest bid here is 8.4. And that's after we actually have already completed the work done on the Parkview roof. And so we've already spent some of that money. And so while I was happy with the amount of bids we had, and then being pretty consistent, there was obviously a little bit of we had a little bit of an issue with the bids being a little higher than what we normally thought they should be. And so, which we've worked with Ellis Knoxier, the architects, on 3 different projects, and we've always been in line with where their bids are, so I don't think it's, they forgot how to do their job. I actually talked with Jeff Ellison this morning, and some of the products they thought came back a little higher. Some of the roof products, some of the different pieces, some of the steel was higher than what they originally thought it was going to be. And so, and I just kind of want to share a spreadsheet real quick with you. So just so that I can, it's up there on the screen. And this is kind of how I track what we have. And so if you look at where we were at, let me see if I can shrink this over just a little bit. Oops, sorry. Okay, so these are our budget entries, and this is our revenue. And so we budgeted $50,000 on what we thought we would get in interest. So far, we've accumulated $28,000 in interest on the project, and we'll probably that's on part of the money, because I actually took $7 million of that $8 million, and we actually put it in another bond fund. So we will get more interest than that, but this is on the initial $1 million that we had. So we still think we'll get a little bit more money. We actually sold the bonds at premium, so instead of getting $8 million, we actually ended up with 8.1, 8.15, I guess. And so we were right there with 8.15 is where we were at. And so, all told, by the time we take out some of the stuff, you're at 8.177, 8 million. And then you go to your bond expenditures, and you can see what we paid to Meridian Roofing and Ellis Knoxier. This big one for Ellis Knoxier was for them to actually start designing the plans for the high school. So we shouldn't have a lot of other bills associated with Ellis Knoxier. We shouldn't have any more bills from Meridian, but we spent $562,000. So if you go on down.
So that's a total of 562 for all that together?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, all that together was 562. And so our capital fund balance, we have to include all that, so it's 9. But we actually have $2 million that we already had in our fund for, and so that's why we're calling it restricted. And so currently we have $7.6 million left. And so when we receive bids at 8.5, and then you see some of the alternative bids, which were from roofing, some additional heating, cooling that we were looking at doing to upgrade one area of the counselor's office that we didn't have in there. We actually need about another $250,000 in addition to that. And so I guess my recommendation is going to be that we reject the bids we have now, and that we have a month. We have more than that, but I'd like to let this time next month have already rebid it. It'll give me time to work with our architect, Mr. Knoxier, and see if we can't reduce that amount. I mean, we're obviously going to be earning some interest. We're going to earn some different things like that. But we need to get this closer to a number that I think we can actually afford without having to spend out of that $2.3 million, because you're still going to have additional items coming up in the future, and you don't want to run down your Fund 4, and we may have to borrow from Fund 4 to pay back Fund 1 with some of the insurance assessment or some of these other pieces. And so I really don't want to run that down and have the new superintendent already behind the 8 ball and have have to pay an extra $700,000. A couple of years ago when we built the new PAC, we knew we were going to spend $1 million of our own money, but we had $4 million in there. And so spending $1 million was good fiscal management for our part instead of holding on to taxpayers' money. But as we're right now, when we're starting to get down at $2.3 million, it sounds like a lot. It's a lot to us, but it's not a lot in the scheme of things, especially with the climate we're in right now. So I guess my action would be that we reject the bids, and we want to start the process completely over. We're just going to have to look at, we have a slanted roof. Do we need to go back to a flat roof? Do we need to cut some of the brick out and have more metal panels, or go with something with a different product, or reduce, lockers, or cut down on some of the glass in the building, and, glass is going to be more expensive than paneling. We're just going to have to look at all those different options. We had some soundproofing in the hallways, because we were keeping them pretty open. You know, do we really need acoustic panels for, 4 minutes every 50 minutes? It's gonna be loud anyways, so, once kids are in class, they're gonna be talking. So, I mean, things like that we'll have to look at, and that's what we'll be trying to look at and try to get new bids on without trying to cut the square footage, is cut some of the other areas and still build a nice building. I don't want it to be, we're not gonna build something cheap, we're not gonna build something that doesn't last, but at the same
Still
time.
need to meet the classroom requirements and all that.
Exactly. We still don't, we still have to meet all those classrooms we're going to be taking out, so.
And all that said, having done the bond issue, I'm grateful that we went ahead, because this only goes up
Oh, right,
from
exactly.
here.
Mhm.
I mean, it's only gonna get more expensive.
Yeah, if you ran that again this year, you're looking at least another 3 to 5%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much the industry standard, and like I said, I feel like we've worked with Mr. Ellison and his company very well on every project since I've been here, and they've always been usually under what we needed to be, and so when you look at these, besides maybe the one, they're pretty consistent. So, it was something on our end that we just miscalculated.
Does he feel like, is he optimistic that,
Because we kind of need to shave $1 million off.
yeah,
the lowest.
Probably at least 750,000, I think, for sure. Interest in what you're gonna be gaining on the other, I think if we could get 750,000 off, then I think you're gonna be real close to where we need to be. And that'll give a little bit of wiggle room for if you have to buy other stuff, or you have some of those change orders that you have. And $1 million would be better, just because we still don't know what we're gonna get into when we get into the well field. So,
oh, sure. And
So
does
was the
this
art-
include the cost, I'm sorry, Ryan, of taking down the south wing?
yes. Yeah, this is the demo and everything. Yep.
So what was the architect's estimate? 7.5?
7.5 is what we thought. He actually thought we could probably do it for about 7.2. And so we were a little over.
Can you put that back up there with what all the bids were?
Yes.
So 8.5 was the closest and 10.5 was,
8.4 was Lawhon and 10 was.
We worked with Lawhon before.
We have, actually, we
They're
built
valuable.
who did the pack?
Lawhon.
That's what I thought.
And then they also built the middle school. And then when we did some improvements a couple years ago, and they wanted to bid on it, but they had their two stretch was E.L. Crawford. They did that additional parking lot, they did the locker room updates, but they are too stretched right now.
So when taking those cuts out of what we projected the building to be, we don't want to lose classrooms, we don't want to
No.
lose square footage. So I mean, pure aesthetics is what we think we
I
can
think it's gonna
achieve.
be pure aesthetics, yeah, looking at how we can cut. Like I said, we were trying to, we probably had a little bit more brick in there and we do it, and there's high labor cost with brick, especially when you're not doing it like a precast panel, and we knew we couldn't do a precast panel, we didn't have enough concrete to do a precast panel, so.
That's what we did at the middle school, right?
Middle school and the Performing Arts Center, we did a
Yeah.
precast.
And
So
we can't do that here?
they don't think that we'll get a very good bid. It's
Okay.
not, there's just not enough value to a company to get a very good bid on it, so.
I know, we did a lease purchase, but that has to be for furnishings, doesn't it?
No, you can do a lease purchase. We did a lease purchase when we did, I can't remember if it was 20 or 21. I think it was 21. We did, where we did all the windows at Parkview and CIS. We did all the HVAC systems at Parkview and CIS, and then we redid doors and we redid all the lighting in both those buildings. And we used a lease purchase for that. And we do have bonding capacity. I don't really know that, we actually, by next year, you have $8 million bonding capacity that, prolongs debt. You can go and say it's no tax, because it is no tax, but it does prolong your debt. But you do have $8 million, but I think we need to stay within the budget here. And then you can always add, more lockers. You can always add acoustic panels when you have money. You can, decorate up and add some extra lighting and do some of those other things on the outside of your building without, with when you have money. But, if we can reduce those things now, then I think it's what we need to do is stay within our budget, so.
if we don't have the slant roof, I mean, that is purely aesthetic, that's not in order to save on.
No, that was purely aesthetic.
Okay.
And I mean, you have more issues with a flat roof.
Yeah.
You're going to, but they've worked. I mean, every one of our roofs except for CIS is a flat roof. You know, they'll last you 20 plus years, so it's not like you're getting a bad investment. I mean, they're going to be more prone as a flat roof to have an issue. You know, you're going to have more prone to ice stands or whatever, and just having some water find a place on your roof when it's a flat roof. Whereas opposed to a slant roof, you know, your water's automatically going to run off. Which then is going to cause another issue. That's going to cause us probably to do, I mean, this might actually be able to slow down water. We're probably going to have to do something with water anyways to satisfy the city because you're going to have, no matter what roof, slant roof, you're going to have water coming off faster.
Is there any way to anticipate or project what the well system is gonna?
We have a pretty good idea of where all the wells are located, and I think we have a pretty good idea of how they're looped together. And with the amount of units that we've taken off already, I think we can abandon some of those wells because we really don't have, when we redid the PAC, that's on its own. We redid the gym a couple years ago, put it on its own. The new ag area is all on its own. The science classrooms are part of the ag area, so they're all on their own. So you only have right now you only have the library, the art room, your south classrooms, and then you gotta go all the way out to like the music rooms before that's what's used for the well. So, yeah. And that actually, when we put the gym on its own, that stopped all of our problems with how hot it was in the fall and how cold it was in the winter because we can actually run that heat all the way. So.
This is just a total dumb idea to me. Is there any way to use the current south wing for what we currently have over there, Vision Audio, and not right now tear that down?
Well, you're gonna have to do something because you've got that south wing you're gonna be blocking off because that's part of the library.
Okay.
So you'll actually be demolishing it, and that'll be the south wall of your new library media center. So, yeah.
I mean, I think it's up to us, you know, we went out to the community and we asked for this money because we had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to do everything we can to stick to the plan, so.
Yeah. But I just don't want to put us in a position where we're spending more than we can afford.
I agree, and that's why I think.
And I don't want to go back to the voters and ask for more when,
Yeah.
you know, if we can clean some of this up with aesthetics and some other things without taking square footage, and at least get close, then let's do that route first.
I think we have the right approach.
Yeah. So,
And then you can add in the future.
you could
Yeah.
with some of those other
I
things.
think that's the key.
And I think we all know the further down the road we get, the more expensive this is gonna get. Everybody knows that cost rise, right? So
Yeah.
if we don't get on something relatively soon.
Now, I would imagine that when we put this both out for bid, we're probably not gonna get all these bids again.
Yeah.
You know, we'll probably get half of that. Yeah. Because they'll figure out pretty quickly that, you know, their bid was out and they don't want to rebid.
Yeah. No, I think we're going about this the right way, so I
Yeah.
think we, you know, we.
Do we need to
So do you need a motion?
See, I think we need to make it official and make a motion to reject the bids.
I would make a motion that we reject the current bids and have you and
Jeff Ellison.
Jeff Ellison go back and see what we can do.
Okay, and I'll have that hopefully ready in March.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Clark, a second by Mrs. Ice. Jackie, did you understand the motion?
I did, I seconded.
Okay, very good. All in favor, raise your right hand. Jackie, give us a voice vote, please.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right.
All right, the next one on there is zeroing out of activity accounts. And this isn't us just being able to take debt off our books. But the best comparison I have for this is we're just moving chairs on the deck. This is the same amount of money. It comes out of the same pot. But effectively, when you look at this, let's look at the first one, tennis. We don't charge an entrance fee for tennis. The only time we ever charge anything for tennis is if we have a tournament, and that's just to cover the cost of trophies and medals and stuff like that. But you can see that they spent $2,300. But we don't have a way of, recouping any of that money. Same with like reconditioning. So when we recondition football helmets or pads, that's $1,600. When we give like postseason awards, like we give so much for each group to be able to give a, maybe offensive player or defensive player or MVP or whatever. We don't have any way, so we spend, each club or every organization gets so much money, but that's $2,400. And so and if you look at some of these, another one that maybe does take in revenue, like let's look down at, softball. Softball, for instance. So by the time we take their budget and then what they made, we're still $5,000 in the hole on softball, even after we take all that. So really what I'm asking you to do is we zero these out, and then what that allows us to do is, I'll go back to this spreadsheet real quick. And so when you look at our summary, this associated funds, okay, this is all part of Fund 1. Okay, associated food service, general funds, these are all part of Fund 1. And so we're just moving money from one area to another, but it's still out of the same Fund 1 category. But if you don't, and we don't take those, then you start showing a negative balance in your associated funds. And so you end up with a minus, $8,000. Now I'll be doing this again in June. I should have probably did it last June. It's not a matter of when, but I'll do this again in June, and that'll help clean up some of this numbers for you. But like I said, it's just what I would consider moving chairs on the deck. Otherwise, your associated funds are just going to keep going lower and lower. We spend $50,000+ on officials every year just to pay for officials. So, and so that's helping even this out. Is there any questions on that? And hopefully I explained that.
When it says reserve 50.32%.
Yeah, that's what we're setting at currently. So.
Oh, of course.
But that's also because we just received all of our tax, not all of it, but we've received a good majority of our tax money. Yeah, I wish we would be setting at 50%
Wow.
year, but
Yeah.
we still got a lot of year left.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is updated monthly. So this is my monthly that Chastity and I used, and I look at, if we're looking at projections, and it should be a little bit better than this, but then you're, as of June 30th, you're at, 18, which I think we ended up, which is right at where we were at, where we started at. So that's kind of the projected. But.
So you're not, just so that anybody that's looking at this, we're not messing with these activities budgets.
No.
We're zeroing out, it's an accounting procedure.
It's an accounting procedure so that we don't always look like we're negative in associated funds. And really, you're just taking the money from the general fund over here, and you're moving it over to associated. But when you look at your budgets, it's all the same. There's no different budgets. There's only a couple of different budgets you actually have, and all of these are part of Fund 1.
So what is the motion that you're asking for?
The motion I'm asking for is that we go ahead and zero out the accounts that I've shared.
So zero out the accounts consistent with the summary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Do I have a motion to zero out the accounts consistent with the summary provided in the board packet?
I would make that motion.
A motion by Mrs. Clark.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grenier. All in favor, raise your right hand. Jackie, voice vote.
Yes.
Motion passes. We've come to the end of the planned agenda. If there are any comments by any of the board members, now would be the time.
I would just encourage people to reach out to, and encourage all of us to encourage friends, parents, to reach out to representatives and speak up for public education, because it's under siege, as we've heard.
And we're all fighting for a piece of pie. I mean, everybody in the state is fighting for that piece of pie, and we know that where the state budget's heading, they have $1 billion to cut, by June 30th of 2027. So they're trying to be fiscally responsible, but it doesn't seem like you're gonna get there by continuing to cut.
Yeah, that's a billion with a B.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't believe I need comments.
All right, with that, and no further comments, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So
Moved by Mr. Renier, second by Mrs. Ice, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Yes.
Jackie votes yes, the motion passes. Thank you for attending, and we will see you next on March 17th.
March 17th, St.
March
Patrick's Day, wear
17th.
green.
Wear green.
Son's birthday.
Oh, which side?